Hey everybody out there, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger comic book review. We've got the big two here. We just did the indie review, so it was a double header. No more triple headers at least. We have a lot of books this week. Two of them didn't come out this week, which was the week of...
October 15, 2014.
Second week of October, right?
I believe so.
Yes.
Or was it the third week of October?
Third week.
Yeah, third week, yeah.
Third week of October, right?
Because
last Wednesday was 2 Wednesdays ago was the first. Yeah, anyway, we have lots of books to go over. One book didn't make it here, and that was Death of Wolverine Legacies issue 1. We will be getting that next week. So, we will be doing the Death of Wolverine Legacies. And why? Because we got the Death of Wolverine issues 2 through 4. And really quickly, issue number 2 is really good. Wolverine has a hit on him. He's looking for it. He finds out in the last issue about Lady Viper. He goes to her, tricks one of her henchmen into bringing him to her, and she tries to kill Logan. It wasn't her that put the hit out on him. And Lady Deathstrike saves Wolverine, finds out he has no healing factor, then wants to kill him herself. And then Kitty Pryde showed up, which leads into the Death of Wolverine issue number 3, where Wolverine's going after, I forget his name. It's a certain name. Ogun. Oh, the artwork's the same in all the books. When we get to issue 4, I'll show this page. This was a nice splash page.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
And Ogun has basically taken over Kitty Pryde's body. A fight between him and Kitty happens, and then he finds the real Ogun, or Ogun possessing somebody else's body, and it turns out that the person that put the hit out on him, he finds out finally was where was it? Cornelius. Shoot. Kitty knew him. Abraham Cornelius. And at the end of the issue, basically, Ogun says, basically Wolverine's up with a tough decision. He has to basically walk away for certain reasons, but he basically tells Ogun to tell Cornelius he's coming, which then leads into this week's issue, the final issue of the Death of Wolverine, issue number 4. There is no way I'm spoiling this. I don't care how many people have already released teaser. How you can go on Google and look up the last page, I'm sure, but I'm not going to be the one to spoil it. Not so close to when it just came out, at least. Maybe during Frontline Live, we'll discuss a bit more about the Death of Wolverine, which I'm sure
9 o'clock Eastern Time.
Which I'm sure we will, but I'm not going to be the one to spoil it. Basically, Wolverine goes after Cornelius, and it turns out he's trying to make 3 others just like Wolverine. The only thing he's missing is Wolverine's healing factor. Wolverine shows him basically he doesn't have a healing factor anymore, and Cornelius wants to go through with it anyway. The procedure begins, and in order to save them, Wolverine makes the ultimate sacrifice. And I'm not going to say what he did. I'm not going to say anything to the effect. From here on out, you have to read the book for yourself. I will say this, though.
Just wow.
I will say this, though. Let me show some artwork. I will give you guys some artwork. I will say that Cornelius got what he deserved. As far as Wolverine goes, though, I'm not spoiling what happened. I'm not even going towards the end of this book. Let's see. Let's go a little bit further back to this page. Shall we do this page? Yeah. The artwork in this book is gorgeous. The ending, I don't really want to talk too much about the ending again because I don't want to spoil it, but I feel like the ending, I was shocked the way they actually went about end of this book. But the ending was a very wow ending, and I can't wait to read the legacy of Wolverine, the Death of Wolverine Legacies, which apparently they mentioned is going to be a weekly series coming out for Wolverine, following X-23 Sabretooth and everybody else. We will get it, provided it's not $3.99 a week. There is no way with 3 weekly series that we're already getting from DC Comics, we're going to add a 4th that's $1 more. There's no way we're doing that, guys. I'm sorry. Not a weekly series. There's no way we'll be able, even if me and Mike go back and forth with it, that will take away a lot of books from the review because that's a lot of money. Figure 4, 8, 12. That's $16 for 4 issues a month. More if there's 5 Wednesdays in a month. I'm sorry, we cannot do a $3.99 weekly series, especially because we're already $3, $6, $9, $9 a month on 3 weekly series until April. That series will have to trade paperback if it's really good, or I don't know, but it would be really hard to swing it. So I'll be surprised months from now if we're getting the first issue and we're actually doing a weekly of a $3.99 book. I'll be surprised. Edge of the Spider-Verse, issue number 5, the final issue of Edge of Spider-Verse. As a matter of fact, Spider-Man 2099 is the final book. Let me check the checklist. I think that is the final book of the checklist, if I'm not mistaken. There's no checklist here. That's great. Okay, well, it's in the Spider-Man 2099 book. But anyway, this book follows a young girl who is, why can't I remember her name? Penny. And her Uncle Ben and Aunt May, see the similarities, her parents end up dying, and she's the only one that can pilot the SP/Spider. And the spider's already in the, like, there's a spider, the spider has to choose her, it's in the room already with her, they expose her to it, and she basically becomes this spider, the pilot of this spider mecha. I want to try to get a good picture of it, but I can't find a very good picture of it. Weird. I can't find a good picture of the mecha. Oh, here we go. They actually have a Daredevil in here as well. And this all happens, I believe, in Japan. But it was an interesting story. I really didn't find... I think this was definitely the weaker of the series, minus that other book. The second one, I believe. This and the second one were... But at the end of the book, she gets confronted by Spider-Ham, and I forget who this Spider-Man is.
Spider-Man?
No, this is Spider-Ham. I don't know who this Spider-Man is. And they tell her about what's going on, where all the spiders are getting killed. And she goes off with them to towards the beginning of Spider-Verse. So, looks like the spiders are getting together one by one. And when we get to Spider-Man 2099, there's some interesting stuff I learned there from Spider-Verse. This is an okay issue. Edge of the Spider-Verse has been an interesting read. And this is the end of the Edge of the Spider-Verse.
I believe this is the last issue, the Superior Foes of Spider-Man, issue number 16. I'm really thinking it is.
Yeah, I think it's the final one.
I think so. And in this issue...
We'll find out next month.
Yeah. The way, if this is the end, the way they ended it was very stupid, in my opinion. Like, first off, you get the Punisher, but he doesn't make an appearance at all in any of the other panels. Just this one right here, which was a tease. But looking over that, Boomerang gets the boot from his girlfriend and all that other stuff, while Iron Man's talking to the other Boomerang about him joining the team since he's reliable and stuff like that. They have the head of Silvermane, and Shocker actually gets a save from Hydro Man from the coffin, and Shocker says, you know, I want some payback, first from him for leaving him with all the rest, and the team who backstabbed him. Tombstone makes an appearance, and all the teams, they just backstabbed each other one by one, and Boomerang, let's just say he really got it to him. And it's about time, because after all that, it's pretty brutal. I'm just going to leave it at that. And then the ending, I'm not going to even spoil how it ends. It's stupid. And look, you're laughing, that's exactly what I said. I laughed and saying, what a stupid ending.
I laughed at the team, too.
Yeah, and in the end, it's actually this. Yeah.
That's an ending.
If it is an ending. Lowest book of the week. Thank God it's over. If it is.
Fantastic Four issue number 11. Now the series is getting interesting. I didn't read the annual yet. I regret it. Everybody's telling me how great it was, how Sue, her evil persona is still somewhere inside of her, and she wants to come out somehow, and she does tell Reed about it in this issue when she returns. Reed can't focus anymore because of all the failures. He realizes everything he's done has led him to this point, and he's made so many mistakes now that he can't concentrate, he can't think. So, She-Hulk and Wyatt, actually Wyatt calls She-Hulk, and she thinks he's there, you know, to help Johnny. She wants him to help Johnny because Johnny's going on a downward spiral. But he says, no, I'm not here for that. I want there's somebody he believes that's doing all this to the Fantastic Four. Release the negative, whatever universe it was, I forgot. Ben ending up in jail. Basically, all the events that have happened since Fantastic Four #1. There is a scene with Ben in the showers at the prison. I'm not going to talk too much on that. You have Reed, who's really getting frustrated with himself. He can't really... He's not himself anymore. And we find out that Wyatt might actually be onto something. Somebody wants to destroy the Fantastic Four. And I will say this, Spider-Man does make an appearance at the end of this book, which is really good. I did like that.
It's good that Spider-Man makes an appearance.
But, so it looks like something's going on behind the scenes, and somebody is trying to destroy the Fantastic Four. Who is it? And after this, will the Fantastic Four make it? You know, will they get back together and be the Fantastic Four, or will they all go their separate ways? And you know, this comic is rumored to be ending. Well, not rumored. It will be ending pretty close to when the movie comes out. So obviously, it's going to have an ending to it. I just don't know if it's going to have an ending. Actually, let's switch it up because this is going to connect more towards the last book. Let's switch your book up with this book.
Okay.
I just realized what it was. That's why.
Yeah. Avengers World, issue number 14. And in this issue, it's basically Shang-Chi versus against the Big Dragon. Your fan, Big Dragon. And it's the Avengers.
Really nice artwork.
Yeah, the Avengers at Washington, D.C. taking care of business. Yeah, like Chris said, really nice artwork. So yeah, it's just an all-out battle of Shang-Chi against the Dragon. Because they want to get rid of that. While the Uncanny Avengers, I think, they take out the Queen. Like, they find out some answers about that. Meanwhile, Director Hill hears from the... who were those other Avengers? The one that were kids now? The Mighty Avengers?
You mean the next Avengers?
The next Avengers, yeah, I keep forgetting that. They wanted to stay instead of going back to their future, so they decided to stay at the present. Meanwhile, Captain America and Agent Hill have a discussion of some things, and this last page right here, which is the ending page, is just Captain America saying that we all unite and work together. So that just...
Is that the end of the... No, next issue.
Well, no, it's Axis, and there's that. But this was a really good book. I would say it's a definite pickup, including all the fights and everything. Really amazing.
Daredevil issue number 9. Daredevil is still mulling over if he wants to do that book. And I love how him, Foggy, and Kristen go out to eat. And as they're walking to the restaurant, you know, he's debating whether he wants to do it. And Foggy's trying to tell him, you know, you had a lot of dark memories, you know, a lot of dark times. Do you really want to do that? And all along you have these, the children of, what was his name? Kilgrave, who are going around using their powers. The artwork in this book's really good, as always. Daredevil somehow confronts them at some point, and he finds out that they must be like Kilgrave because of their ability to basically manipulate all the people around them. The ending was really good too, where they actually get deep into Matt's mind. And I'm not going to give the ending away either, but all in all, I thought this was a really good issue. Again, though, I don't know, the kids kind of... I don't know, this story arc is... I liked it, but at the same time, with the way Kilgrave and these kids are going, it's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah. But I trust Mark Waid. Mark Waid's been doing an amazing run on Daredevil, and I'm sure the next issue will bring everything together, because there were a couple of loose ends at the end of this issue. Hopefully things will be explained by the next issue. All in all, really good though. I always recommend Daredevil. Daredevil's a really, really good book. It feels like it's segued. Like this is the middle part of the story that it's leading into something in the next issue.
Right. My book of the week from Marvel, and this is a surprise actually, Magneto Axis issue number 11. I could just sum this up in less sentences. Magneto, I could see him a little bit as an anti-hero, but what happens in this book is that he is on the team with Iron Man and the rest of the other Avengers to take out the Red Skull, along with the X-Men, you know, Rogue, Wanda, and Havoc. What do you...
No.
Yeah. So, he just goes to, I forgot what her... Miss Riley? I don't know if I'm saying it right. And at the beginning, he was just whining, complaining about how, you know, how he's a failure and everything, and whatever he does is his fault, which is why he is the way he is today. And I'll give you some artwork. And actually, some pictures gave Magneto, you know, to be back in the game. And what he does, he gets a whole bunch of villains, actually, to help with the whole thing. Now, I'm not a big villains fan, but to see the way Magneto got everyone, like Doctor Doom, Carnage, Enchantress, Deadpool even. I mean, basically, the whole team is all this right here. To go up against the Red Skull. Yeah.
Whoa, let me
even
see.
Loki, yeah.
I'm surprised he got Carnage.
Yeah, you got Carnage, Jack-O-Lantern,
Doctor Doom, Enchantress, Loki, Deadpool, and Mystique.
Green Goblin. Oh, you said Green Goblin? Oh.
I said,
Hobgoblin, yeah, Hobgoblin. But the way Magneto just says it needs villains to go up against the villain itself...
Ingenious.
That is genius. That's why it's Book of the Week. I mean... Cullen Bunn did it. I mean, he just made the book really amazing this week. It is Cullen Bunn because it's Book of the Week.
Alright, the next two books for me are Spider-Man books. Miles Morales, The Ultimate Spider-Man, issue number 6. You want to know who this Peter Parker is? Is he a clone? Isn't he a clone? You get the answers here, but they're empty answers. Pete finally explained what happened with Pete. And I don't want to spoil too much. This is a really good book. So Miles finally comes out and says, are you a clone? Are you this? Are you that? And Pete's like, no. I remember basically everything of my life from the day I was born until now. It turns out Peter Parker's grave was empty. However, this Peter Parker, or if this is the real Peter Parker, woke up in a lab in Atlanta. Not S.H.I.E.L.D., not Roxxon, we don't know where. And all the data in the computers and everything was erased. So we still don't know if he's a clone or what, but we know that the grave for Peter Parker is empty. So is this the real Spider-Man or not? And I'm not going to give away most of the rest of the book. It was really good. The artwork was really good. Let's just say that he wants to quit being Spider-Man because he sees that Miles Morales is doing an amazing job. He just wants to live out the rest of his life away from it all. And let's just say other people find out he's alive in this issue. And then we get Miles versus Green Goblin again. And then the ending, I kind of think... the ending I kind of call a little bit. I'm going to give the ending away. It's got Green Goblin saying you'll never know who your father really is. It's a good hook. It's a very good hook. But I know exactly what probably the Green Goblin's going to say. He's his father because he's the one that fathered him into being a Spider-Man. I could be wrong. I mean, but I don't know. I kind of have a feeling that that's really where it's going to lead into because it's a really good hook ending. But at the same time, I know Norman Osborn can't be Miles Morales' father.
There's no way.
And I'm very intrigued to learn more about if this Peter Parker really is a clone, if he's not a clone. If he is a clone, where the real body of Peter Parker is. Could it be Ben Reilly?
Or could it be Chameleon in disguise of Peter
No, it's
Parker?
not Chameleon.
Oh. You never know.
You're right. Chameleon could be anybody, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm just very intrigued to learn more, and hopefully we'll keep Peter Parker somewhere in the background as a problem that still needs to be figured out. Like who took him, if that is the real Peter Parker, and who brought him back to life, or who cloned him. Are we going to see an Ultimate Jackal? An Ultimate Clone Wars? Spider-Man 2099 issue 5. Now this has the checklist, and I'm going to make sure before I open my mouth, because I think it ends on in Amazing Spider-Man. I was right. Amazing Spider-Man 8 ends the Spider-Verse, the Edge of the Spider-Verse. So there's still one more issue to go with the Edge of Spider-Verse before we get into the actual Spider-Verse. So it turns out that Morlun is not only targeting Peter Parker's. When he's targeting all the Spider people, he's targeting all of them. So it turns out on Earth 981 98,120 or 98120. Miguel O'Hara is the Spider-Man of that universe, and Morlun goes after him. There's another Spider-Man. I love the artwork, by the way. Artwork is superb in this book. I really enjoy it. I don't know why. I really like it. I don't know if everybody else agrees with me or not, but I'm enjoying it. And it turns out that every time Morlun absorbs one of the Spider-Men that are a part of Miguel's line, he's feeling it. And there's another Spider-Man on Earth 6375, who's also Miguel, who knows about this and wants to travel to Earth 616, where apparently Morlun's afraid to go because he died there. And then you get some stuff that's going on with Miguel. I'm not going to give that much away with the dialogue there. But finally, the Miguel of that Earth, of Earth number 6000 or 6375, is able to create the portal in order to go to the 616, and he actually creates the portal to go directly to the Miguel of 616. However, Morlun shows up, and he doesn't make it, and he's petrified to go into the 616 universe, which I find very interesting. So now Miguel is part of the Spider-Verse. Like, now he understands what's going on with Morlun. So the only one left that has no clue about what's going on is Pete, and I believe that's going to be rectified in Amazing Spider-Man 8, because at the end of this issue, it looks like Miguel's going to Peter Parker, because he's the only one that can help him in this situation. So, looking forward to seeing where the entire Spider-Verse goes. It's been building up really, really nicely. So while you're dealing with Axis, I'm going to be touching on and dealing with Spider-Verse, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to go on in the Spider-Man books.
Yeah, and speaking of Axis, issue number 2 of Axis came out, and I believe the one with the teaming up with Iron Man, I think it was in this book, so I kind of got a little bit confused there. But you find it does have a Magneto when he ran away to get all the villains, and it's really just Iron Man, Avengers and X-Men team going up against the Red Skull. And, and here's some artwork, by the way. And they're trying to defeat him, as well as, not letting the Red Skull get in their heads because he has Charles Xavier's, mind-reading powers. So, as Magneto gets beat, the X-Men, they're just trying to figure out different ways with Iron Man how they're going to defeat the Red Skull. And there's a lot of other stuff that's in this book that you really should read, because let's just say that Red Skull brought some other robots with him, and it actually ends the exact same way Magneto ends, in this way.
So Magneto basically goes side by side with
So basically, right, with all the villains that he got in the Magneto comic book. So, technically, this is all going to pinpoint Magneto with his ways of stopping this war with using the villains.
Interesting.
It's very interesting.
We're now in DC Comics. Green Lantern New Guardians, issue number 35. First of all, welcome back to New Guardians on this review. Let's see if maybe things will pick up after this, because it's very interesting. Let's see if I can move these books a little bit over so I can pick my arm up a little bit more. Yeah, it looks good enough for me. So, New Guardians, now, if you guys know, right along I've been complaining about how the New Gods are very aggressive, very different from the way they were pre-New 52, to my understanding, and even Jay mirrors my feelings. So obviously I'm right, because I know Jay read a lot more when it came to New Gods than me probably. So up to this point, I wasn't feeling this series because even Highfather was very dark. This book turns it around, and actually a lot turns around in this issue. Apparently, I haven't been reading Green Lantern New Guardians, obviously, so Kyle's been slowly going a little bit crazy, and he finds out in this issue it's because nobody's ever survived going in and then coming out of the Source Wall because of the life equation. And not only did Kyle fight his way out and get his way out, he came out with the life equation inside of him. This all harkens back to the 5 years later, where he says, everybody thought I was crazy, I ended up in this big fight. So it all kind of alludes to that. The artwork in this book was pretty good. Again, though, when it comes to that mask, it's definitely, they've got to fix Kyle's mask, man. But the artwork is very bright, very vivid, and Highfather, like in the last issue of Green Lantern New Corps, Highfather finds Kyle and actually reaches out to him. And for the first time in this series, Highfather actually is like Highfather, the Highfather I remember. He's not dark, he's not anything. He actually says this is not a power you should be, that any human or any mortal can handle. And he actually, he reaches to Kyle, and I'm expecting that there was supposed to be a fight in this book. I was expecting that. I was looking for Highfather to try to pry the life equation out of him. As a matter of fact, it was twisted. It was the Guardians that tried to do that.
Oh.
So they turned out to be just like their brethren. And Highfather actually asks Kyle to give, using his ring, to give Highfather some of the power from the life equation, and he actually helps Kyle control it and pull it back inside of himself. And he says, you're not going to be able to handle this. You're going to be driven to madness. And in the end, it's going to consume you. And he actually says, I've been doing a lot of things recently with the lanterns. And he says, and perhaps I acted rashly, and I sent my guards to obtain the rings by any means necessary, and I didn't think I could just ask them for it and have gotten the rings. Am I correct? And he's like, yeah, you're right. But he's like, and Kyle says, how can you help me? You can't help me here. Where can you help me? He's like, come with me to New Genesis, and I'll find a way to free you from the curse of this life equation, and we can, figure this out. And in the end, they actually end up going. But in this issue, I like how Highfather... Is it a trick? We don't know yet. We'll find out as the series continues. But at the same time, at least for this issue, Highfather seemed like himself. He's trying to help Kyle. He's not trying to hurt him. He's not trying to just suck the life equation out of him. He actually wants to take it away from Kyle without killing Kyle, from what I understand at least. And he wants to help Kyle. He doesn't want, Kyle to go crazy. He doesn't want the life equation to fall into the wrong hands. And at the same time, he's not trying to rip Kyle's body open for it. I like it. I like where it's going. I hope that as the series continues, because I don't know if the same writer is doing all of these books. To my knowledge, he's not. Highfather was written right here. If they could If they could continue his personality the way it is right now, I believe that the series definitely can be picked up, and things can definitely go really right for the characterization of the new guard, the new gods, and everything. Highfather was written right here. I just hope that the rest of the series, it's the same way, where he's trying to help Kyle. He just wants the life equation to, out of that universe and to be preserved on New Genesis, and everything goes back to normal, and he doesn't try to kill all the lanterns like what it looked like it was going to be throughout the entire first act. With that, we're getting the time, so give us just 2 seconds, and at the click of the button, we shall return and continue with DC Comics. Alright, and we're back, and we are now in Batman and Robin issue number 35. I like this issue. I like... The artwork's a bit dark, but again, Batman's on Apocalypse, and he's looking for Godfrey, and he wants to beat the crap out of him because he's the one that took his son from him. We get to see a lot of Calabac in this book also, which was very interesting. And it turns out the Bat family didn't abandon Batman. They actually find a way, I'm not going to spoil how, but they find a way to get to Apocalypse. And I love how Alfred made them these outfits that'll kind of protect them, not as well as Batman's, but they all kind of resemble Damian Robin's costume, and he gives them all R's to as a reminder of who they're fighting for. And not just the Bat family end up on Apocalypse. Next issue we'll talk about who went with them. But Calabac's character is really interesting. Batman's just fighting through parademons and everything on Apocalypse, and I just think it's really nice, really sweet. The action in this book is very, very nice. And Darkseid is in a healing sleep, apparently, since what happened 5 years ago with the Justice League, or now it's 7 years ago. I don't know. But anyway, really good book. Artwork is okay. I'm not going to say it's amazing, but it's pretty good. Story is definitely interesting. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with Damian. Apparently, through Damian and the Crystal, Calabac is going to try to bring Darkseid back faster. All in all, very interesting book. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I mean, if Damian comes back as Robin, if there's going to be a new Robin, because remember, we have Harper, who's going to apparently be a huge contributor to the Bat family now. I mean, who knows? I mean, 5 years later showed that there was a completely different Robin.
They did, yeah. I remember that.
But again, I don't think any comic company can boldly say, in 5 years, this is what's going to happen. And I think that in April...
So what if it happened 5 years
Exactly. It's like a this is what might happen, but after Future's End, things are going to change, and now the future's unknown again. But I think that something big is going to happen in April that's going to really fundamentally possibly change the DC universe. I hope, because there's a lot of changes that need to be done.
Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue number 35. And is it just me, or is Lobo going to appear? Because I've been really waiting for Lobo to appear, because now...
Whoa, what happened to Roy?
I'm going to explain about that. They said, like, in issues back, Jason Todd said that the Joker and his clan was involved in this by having a shootout or something like that. So it's really just Jason Todd and Arsenal just with their adventure, and he has a new arrow of some sort. And really, it's just all talking. Like, they go to Starfire?
Yeah.
Yeah. Artwork is really good. And basically, she's just, you know, like saying like she's fine and everything, but they think that she's not well, so to say. And she could be suicidal if she's not that well. So, to be honest, I was kind of really bored with this issue. Like, it's just all talking. They had a reference to the Red Hood and the Outlaws issue 33. Just wanted to point that out there. And they're just facing these people who are with the Joker. That's really all I can say. And after all that, let's just say that Starfire did something to Arsenal, which might have led to almost part of how he wound up in the hospital, but I think the Joker was also part of it as well, or something along the lines of that. Like, I heard it somewhere in this story, but it was kind of weak this week. And if I don't see Lobo in the next 2 issues or something, I might as well drop it, because
you're not enjoying it.
Like, in the next 2 issues, if I don't find it enjoyable, then I'm going to drop it.
Justice League 35 starts the next big arc for the Justice League book. This was very interesting. So you have Batman and Lex Luthor. Now Luthor Corps, or Lex Corps, and Wayne Enterprise are now partners. And they give this humongous speech at the end. And remember, at the end of the last Justice League book, Batman and Superman worked out this plan to find a way to put Lex in jail. So the entire Justice League is around Lex Corps, and Bruce is getting the grand tour of the entire facility of LexCorp, the entire building. And he's looking for something to peg Luthor and put him behind bars for the rest of his life.
I thought he joined the Justice League.
Yeah, but they're trying to put him out forever.
Oh.
So in this book, he shows him that, you know, he's still trying. He's making another clone of Superman because he grew close with the other Bizarro. So now he's trying to clone Superman again. He shows him basically everything, and then Batman, Bruce is like, what about your private lab? And he's like, how do you know about my private lab? He's like, I guessed. And Lex kind of got outsmarted. And he shows him his private lab. And the entire Justice League is still just watching, you know, and waiting for Batman to give the signal. Batman has nothing so far. And then finally, something happens, and there's a break-in at Luthor Corps. I think Lex Corps, I think this is a humongous setup. It just feels like Lex orchestrated this for a reason. But anyway, there's a breach at the end of this issue. I'm not going to spoil it yet, but there's a breach. Luthor was hiding something, or it looks like he was hiding something, but now it's out, and it looks like the entire world, or at least the United States, might end up being quarantined. And that's what's being advertised in every single one of the issues. this month, and I'm very interested in finding out what happens next. What got out? Read this issue. It was really good. The artwork was good. The dialogue, the bouncing back and forth between Lex and Bruce was really, really good. You could see that they're going to have a humongous rivalry, dare I say, more than Lex and Superman, as this book continues forward. And what's going to happen to the Justice League? What's going to happen to the world? What's next? I can't wait to read the next issue. It's really, really good.
Alright, book I've been waiting for. Trinity of Sin, issue number 1, which has 3 characters.
Pandora,
Fam Stranger,
and John...
and The Question.
The Question, right. Sorry.
John Constantine.
I keep thinking Constantine. I don't know why I think
Don't bring Blight into this. Please, don't bring it. Anyway, overlooking that.
But at least,
Yeah, it gives background. Like, it first goes with The Question, who is going to define the Torn Demon. Then it goes into Fam Stranger with Dr. Terrence, or Dr. 13, where he's looking into some of his stuff, and basically he let the guy Chris let him rest in peace already because he's there. And then he winds up fighting this cobra-like creature. And then we get Pandora on her side, who is... actually, I'll give you some artwork since I haven't yet. And she's fighting this huge tidal wave that says, he wants to take over the city and everything. It's either join me or I just flood the whole city. And of course, and she doesn't because, she's that way. Meanwhile, she transports Fam Stranger and The Question on the island. The Question doesn't want to join them, so it's really just Fam Stranger and Pandora going up against, well, let's just say that'll be until next issue.
I'm glad that at least you don't have Trinity of Sin, Phantom Stranger, Trinity of Sin, Pandora anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's just simply...
It's just one entity in this book. And that also, well, from DC Comics that is, was my book of the week. Because you have 2 of my favorite characters that I've been reading.
And you have the Question, who is now going to get fleshed out through the book.
Right, but even though he said he wasn't going to join him in this issue, he's going to join because it's Trinity.
It's eventually,
3.
yeah.
So hello.
This book and Batman Eternal, I feel, were equal this week, but I love the ending of it. Future's End, issue number 24. The new, or whatever's left of the Stormwatch, are unable to escape Brainiac here. They get trapped. We find out a little bit more about what's going on Cadmus Island. We find out, and this is scary, because I thought that Mr. Miracle and Big Barda were together, but it turns out him and Fury are actually a thing, which is interesting. But anyway... Brother Eye is on Cadmus Island. Mr. Miracle and Fury are the only 2 that aren't being messed with, and Fury wants to actually take out Brother Eye. There's a scene with Tim again. I feel like right now it's not something that really is super important, but I feel like they're really fleshing... I forgot her name. They're fleshing out his girlfriend a lot. I think she's going to end up being the female Firestorm somehow. You got Jason and Dr. Yamazaki, who are working on the teleporter. Things are looking good. And then it ends with that creature that we saw from several issues back. And let's just say he comes face to face with none other than Superman. I left out what happened before that. For a reason, but finally, maybe we'll have Superman returning to the DC Universe after disappearing since the war.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it definitely looks interesting. I like the ending. I really could care less about what's going on with Jason, because right now it's just about a teleporter. And Stormwatch I'm enjoying, kind of. I'm just glad we're not dealing with anything from Voodoo right now. Next we have Batman Eternal, issue number 28. Lots happened here. Remember, last issue Catwoman got captured, and you got Barbara, who is dealing with Jason Bard. And you'd think throughout this entire issue she's going to kill him. I swear, I thought that at least. And you have Batman chasing Flamingo, thinking that Flamingo's going to take him back to Hush, but instead Flamingo takes him back to where Killer Croc and Catwoman are. There is a death in this book, and it's wow. And I'm not going to spoil that at all. I'm going to skip around a little bit. This was an interesting book. You have Red Hood, who basically is ready to leave Metropolis, but there's one thing, and even Starfire says, go say goodbye to Batgirl. You know you want to. And after getting rid of Jason Bard, not going to say how, he says his goodbyes to Barbara, and she's like, you could stay. You know, there's more, basically insinuating she wants to be with him. And he's like, nope. And she's like, why? He's like, because it's like you said, I'll never be Dick Grayson. And he leaves. And then you have Catwoman finally stepping into the role of being the kingpin of the underworld because of the events that happened in this issue. And Batman wasn't there when she needed him the most. So this was a very good turning point. Covers it definitely. It's a turning point for Catwoman's character, and it's definitely possibly a turning point for a lot of things that are going to be going on in Batman Eternal. It was a good issue. Was it spectacular? No, but it definitely is. You could see that things are moving forward at a pretty strong pace. Finally this week, the strongest of the three, it has to be because it's Earth 2. Must be because it's Earth 2. World's End issue number 2 was really good. Now, Earth 2 issue 27 did happen, but obviously they're skipping over it, and they have now Superman, all the Justice Society minus Flash, Hawkgirl, and Dr. Fate facing and Aquawoman facing up against the Geneva Champion of Apocalypse or Hound of Apocalypse, whatever you want to call her. And she says either bow to Apocalypse. So apparently, I feel bad for Earth 2. They got out of it. They say, you know, the Justice Society or whatever they're calling themselves saved the world. And all they had to do was clean up the fire pits. And right away, you think it's done, but it's not. And now they're fighting again. You know, even the World Army, Khan says the war isn't over yet. If you're in a safe place, stay there. If you're not, find safety. And you got Jimmy who's reaching out all around the world, finding out that every fire pit has a different Hound of Apocalypse, I'm going to call them, coming out. And every single one of the superheroes is sent somewhere else. First, Green Lantern sent one place. Hawkgirl and Fate are sent another. Aquawoman goes to hers. Actually, they keep Flash just checking on the strongholds, which I find interesting. And then, of course, Batman, Huntress, Power Girl, Superman, and Red Tornado are staying in Geneva to try to fight this being. And they don't fare too well against her, honestly. And then we got Bedlam and Mr. Terrific and Sloane. Basically, Mr. Miracle found a way to escape. I'm not going to say how, actually. I'm smart. I'm not going to say how. But thanks to Mr. Miracle, they find a way to kind of stuff go into Bedlam, take Bedlam and put him into Sloane's mind. And his mind is basically like a maze. And they take Bedlam out. I mean, they wipe him clean. And then the ending, of course, I'm going to leave out till next time. But let's just say Green Lantern knows full well what's going on. And so does the Earth. And it's ready to take up arms against the Hounds of Apocalypse too. Really good. Very interesting how this is all, you know, I feel bad for Earth 2. First it was the attack and they lost Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Then Earth 2 really started, and it was up to Flash, the new Batman, Red Tornado, and everybody else to fight against the evil, perverted version of Superman. And they beat him, and they beat the armies of Apocalypse back again. And now, not even a year, not even a couple of weeks after this, the Hounds of Apocalypse are there now, popping out of the fire pits. Again, Earth is under attack by Apocalypse. Now I can understand how Earth 2 is just not going to survive. It's just completely being bombarded by Apocalypse to the point where it's going to have no choice, but they're going to have to go to the New 52 world. Very good stuff, though. I really am interested in seeing where this goes. And you also see that there's something between Val and Kara going on. So, definitely looking forward to the next issue of World's End. Definitely the strongest one so far of the 3 weekly series. But remember, it is the beginning, and all 3 weekly series started off strong. And I don't know how many issues we're going to have of World's End, but I imagine it's going to definitely make it to at least the 30s before the month of April. So we'll see where that goes. And with that, that's it for this review, guys. As always, don't forget to check out comic-related, Comic Frontline, Zone 4 Podcast, and Frontline Gaming. Altogether, we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Feel free to leave any comments below, agree or disagree with any of the books I reviewed here, recommendations for any books we don't have, your opinion, and we will answer your guys' comments in the comments below.
Yep.
So until next time, everybody, keep reading, keep collecting, and we will see you guys in the next review.
Later, everybody.